What's your definition of greatness?
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. Yeah, I think that's what greatness is or should be. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. Yeah. And I think that's our challenge as people is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
Kobe's response was the definition of greatness is to inspire people next to you, which he did on and off the court through his sacrifice as an athlete, through his philanthropy, and ultimately his retirement video at the end of the game. Kobe was a legend ahead of his time, not just on the athletic side of things, but just how he thought. And so he goes on to say, it's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire one person who will then inspire another. That's how you create something that lasts forever. How our story can impact others. Welcome to Ray Ramos, and it's my pleasure to talk to you guys today about a couple of videos that I was sent. One of them was from Steve Harvey, and the other one was from Kobe Bryant, the late, great Kobe Bryant. So let me start with the first video that Steve Harvey shared. And he speaks about getting out of your comfort zone if you want to be successful. He says also the following: if you stay in your comfort zone, that's a sure sign, I'm just paraphrasing, that you will fail, right? So if you're in your comfort zone, you will fail. Success is not a comfortable procedure, he says. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable if you want to be successful. So I agree to a certain extent that with Steve, but I would challenge those hearing those words to first define what success means to you. So, what is success? If you define it, it's having achieved popularity, profit, or distinction. Now, there may have been more than to that conversation, but Steve is a self-made multi-billionaire who conquered many adversities, and he came out of his comfort zone to forge a very successful business brand for himself. For me, that is one way of gauging success, but there's another, right? And that is, what is being successful? Well, it can be explained like this. Being successful is a deeply personal journey and achievement defined by individual values, goals, and experiences rather than the universal accepted standard. I can encompass various aspects, and I'll put it this way, it can encompass various aspects like personal fulfillment, financial stability, like Steve said, positive relationships, and making meaningful impact, right? So, what is being successful in faith? When you look at what Steve is saying, he's talking about, having financial success. If you want to be a successful businessman, if you want to be someone successful like him, it takes coming out of your comfort zone. But what about being successful in our faith? And to me, that is finding out who we are, who you are, your identity and your purpose, and then going out and making an impact in the world for Jesus Christ, right? Success for me is based on the life I live and the legacy that I leave. So, although I agree with some of what Steve was saying, there are some other aspects that we have to look at. And the first thing is to define what success is for you. It's not always financial. Sometimes it's being successful in your home, being a successful parent. Define what those are and then step out of your comfort zone. It's not going to always be easy. It's not being easy being a parent, raising children. It's not easy being a husband or a wife. It's not easy being a CEO or someone that is put in position of leadership. So those, if you want to be good at it, if you want to be successful at it, yes, you do have to come out of your comfort zone, but it's not always financial success that we achieve. Now, talking about video number 2 with the late great Kobe Bryant, and we see in that video, I saw in that video with Kobe, he was somebody to me that embodied just more than being an athlete. And so I watched how the interviewer asked Kobe an opening question: what is the definition of greatness? Kobe's response was, the definition of greatness is to inspire people next to you, which he did on and off the court through his sacrifice as an athlete, through his philanthropy, and ultimately his retirement video at the end of the game. Kobe was a legend ahead of his time, not just on the athletic side of things, but just how he thought. And so he goes on to say, it's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire one person who will then inspire another. That's how you create something that lasts forever. How our story can impact others. Man, that's biblical. That's more than just somebody talking about, what the definition of greatness is. I'm a great athlete. No, he's talking about on and off when he says these things, and to me, when you look at it, if you look at both videos together, it is showing another type of success, right? And greatness is leaving a legacy. It's inspiring others to lead. It's being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's being transparent so that others can learn from your failures and your successes. Faith-wise, Kobe's definition of greatness is discipleship. Man, that's discipleship. You passing something down to someone else so that they can pass it to another. You're being transparent enough in your story so that others can say, I can resonate with that, right? I can agree with that. He's speaking to me when he's saying that. And it's also being Christ-like and picking up your cross daily and putting on the whole armor of God to lead people to salvation. So through both of these videos, you see two different aspects. One talking about coming out of your comfort zone, the other talking about greatness. Why? Because when you go through, you begin to show others, you begin to lead others, you begin to leave something behind, a blueprint for other people. So they were two great videos. I had joy listening to both. And I hope this has been impactful for you as you move in and through your journeys. And look forward to hearing from you and speaking to you on the next video.